David is here to help me have the conversation, really. David, he's a biochemist, so when the medical terms come out, he likes to bully me sometimes. But me too, I was a science student, yeah.
Dr. Ejewa. Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. And you? I think I'm at you.
We're well. I'm well.
Yes.
And a bit of the Hamatan thingy, trying to do a number on me, but we did form by the grace of God.
We're trying to stay dehydrated. I'm sure you advise us to do that.
Yes, being hydrated is very good. It will go a long way to help you, especially this time of the year.
Yeah. All right, so we're looking at family health. You yourself, you're a pediatrician.
Yes, I am.
And
an accomplished one.
Let's looking at into the future and saying 2023 is coming. What are the things we need to know and understand about planning our family's health?
Sure. There's a saying that you either plan to fail or you fail to plan.
Yeah.
So I guess we all don't want to plan to fail.
Yeah.
So we're going to plan so that we
don't fail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are a number of things that we'll need to do to make sure that 2023 is successful.
Okay.
Would like to look at preventive health, and then we'll look at interventional health.
Okay.
So first of all, we wish to stay healthy, but we know that sickness does come, and especially at a time when you do not expect it. So one of the key things we would want to encourage people to do going into 2023 is to have a health insurance. Enroll on the national health insurance if you haven't. The good thing is this December, they are doing a promo. You renew and instantly you get hooked on. You don't need to wait the 1 month.
So I have a little confession. All my life I've not had health insurance.
And I'm always fighting with him on this.
Until 2 weeks ago.
Oh, praise God.
So just as 2-3 weeks ago. So just as, I think it was like the first week of December. And then in my mind, and I didn't know they were running this thing. So in my mind, I said, okay, so January it will kick in, and I can start using it. Then a lady says, oh no, listen. The great thing is that you came at the right time. Because this month, we're actually rolling it out. It's instant.
Very well.
And then that day that I was there, they actually launched the app.
Okay.
So you can actually do your own registration, self-registration and everything. So I think NHIS is really helping.
And he was so happy. So he came, said, I finally got health insurance. I was like, and we actually went, we opened the app and it worked, So we're very happy about that. We're very happy about that. But yes, so health insurance. Why is it necessary? Because a lot of people have the notion that, I'll pay the premiums, but I may not get sick.
I may not use it, so it's like, what's the point?
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing about insurance. You never know when the trouble will come. But when you are prepared for the trouble, you realize that you're the biggest beneficiary.
Okay.
So health insurance is so key, be it national health insurance, be it a private health insurance. Get hooked on a health insurance because it would save you a lot in the future.
Is there anything beneficial to having multiple insurances, as it were, a private
and a
national, is there any benefit to that?
Well, if you can afford a private, you can have it in addition to your national. Your national health insurance caters for a lot of basic things, and so if you can afford a top-up private health insurance, that'll be good. Yes, and I'm doing fine.
At all. United Nations.
I know,
you see that? Yes.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. Then we want to look at preventive medicine. So we realize that in this day and age, lifestyle illnesses are on the rise. Hypertension, diabetes, obesity. And we're finding it in younger and younger people. I mean, drive through the schools and you'd realize that even our young children are becoming obese. And unfortunately, we are picking up hypertension in some of these adolescents. And so it's important for us to do preventive health. Have a health check, have a routine of having an annual, if not a biannual health check, to do some basic investigations, run your full blood count, look at your cholesterol levels.
Yeah.
It's important that people check up their blood pressures. The people who are sitting in offices and have high blood pressures and do not know, and unfortunately, they will never know until they get a stroke. However, if we get into the habit of having frequent checks and knowing what our blood pressures are, it would go a long way to save us.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you about, and I think this is important for our viewers, in that one of the reasons for regular blood pressure checks is, and if you can afford it, I think that it's a good advice that you should have your own, that you can check the figures regularly. But I think that I noticed that for myself, I typically am on the lower side, you know, and so even though a 120/80 may be normal for someone, for me, it may be a sign of there's a problem coming.
Okay.
You see, because I'm naturally on the lower side.
Okay.
I don't typically go beyond 113, 114.
Okay.
You know, on the diastolic, you know, no, sorry,
Systolic.
Yeah. So if I start to see now consistently is 120 and maybe 120, 122, even though it may be normal, as per the textbooks, it's actually not normal for me.
Okay.
To speak to that.
So that's very important. So basically, would say you are hypertensive once you hit 130 on 80. So, but we do know that people have different baselines, and that's why the regular health checks are important. Because just like you said, for somebody, they would not feel anything until they probably hit 170, 180 on, let's say, 100, 110. However, because you are usually on the lower levels, you would probably start having signs when you hit 125, 130 maybe, and that is a time that we should start putting interventions in place. And so it's important to know your baseline, and then your healthcare provider can plan management accordingly.
Okay. So let's talk about the planning.
Sure.
So in a family, and nuclear family, some nuclear families include elements of an extended family. So maybe you live with your grandparents or your parents, you know, in addition to your spouse and your children, or you live alone. You're the only one in one man or one woman family. How do you plan for your health care to make sure that everything goes as smoothly as it should in 2023? Where do we start? So we spoke about insurance, but beyond that, where do we go?
Okay, so we want to look at things you can do for yourself. Diet. Diet is one big thing. So what are we eating? Are we eating healthy? Or we're eating a lot of junk food? These days, fast food is on the rise. There's so many joints around the road, just around the corner. And what we eat is a big deal. So I would encourage families to prepare their food at home as much as possible. Engage the children, mommy, daddy, engage them to cook the meals. What I do with my kids is I actually make them plan the menu.
Okay.
So they go like on Monday afternoon, this is what we're having, this is what we're having for dinner. And once they are involved in it, they tend to eat better.
The
exactly. So get them to plan their menus. If you can cook for them to send to school, cook for them. Get a hot lunch pack and let them send food from home to school. We also want to encourage people to include vegetables in our food. A lot of people shy away from vegetables, but indeed that is what helps us grow and stay healthy. So it's important that we add a lot of vegetables. Some children hate to see the veggies in the food. Blend them if you have to. You can add some veggies to their smoothies. It's also important to add some fruits to your diet. If they wouldn't eat the fruits, you can make them into interesting stuff. Fruit kebabs. Put different fruits on a stick and let them enjoy it. Sometimes that helps. Make it into a fruit salad so that they can see all the different colors. Or you can also blend them and make them smoothies for them. And it's important to eat 3 square meals. That would help you minimize your snacking. And you know, most of the snacks are junk foods. So eating 3 square meals does help a lot.
And does that go for everybody?
So
because
certainly
recently
not.
a lot of people are cutting out maybe one meal in the day, doing another. You know, how important is it for different groups of people within the family system to eat 3 square meals?
Okay, so for instance, sometimes people work very late and coming home around 8, 9 p.m. and they'll be going to bed pretty soon. And so I wouldn't encourage you to have a big dinner if you're coming home that late. So yes, some people could fuse their lunch and dinner into a late lunch, and that could go a long way to help.
So that would be around 4?
4 maybe.
Okay.
So that the food has enough time to digest.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. But if you're hungry in the evening, what are some good things to eat? I'm guessing it's definitely not fufu.
Oh my God.
Fufu at midnight.
Wow.
We've seen some before.
You'll be there in your house and you'll be pounding. You look at the time and say, it's already 9:30, who's pounding?
So certainly not fufu in the night. Crackers is a good one to do because it doesn't have fat. It will digest quickly. You can also do some soft fruits, pawpaw, mangoes, especially for people who have gastritis or ulcers, peptic ulcers. We usually advise that they take a nighttime snack. So some juice, not a citrus juice, but something like mangoes or pawpaw, or some crackers would go a long way to help.
Okay. So you spoke to us about preventive care. And what about, you mentioned initially that also looking at interventional care. Just wrap up the conversation with that for us.
All right. So before I go to interventional care, let me just slip in a little bit about exercise.
Okay.
So we realize that a lot of us are doing a lot of sedentary lifestyle. And so would wish to hammer on the exercise bit. Walk around your home, do some aerobics, engage in dancing. The children these days are sitting and on their screens all the time. Want to encourage them to move around the house, play around, pilolo, hopscotch, whatever. It's going to go a long way to help us and to stretch your muscles as well. For those who sit in the offices for long hours behind their screens, it's important that they take a break, take a walk, stretch out a bit, laugh, because laughter does a lot to the body. And then would go into interventional healthcare. So, sorry. Yes, sometimes we do fall sick, and it's important that we seek healthcare early. There are times that people go round, buying medications on their own, mixing things on their own, and by the time they come to the hospitals, it's way too late. And so I would say that if you feel unwell, walk into a healthcare facility, seek early attention, because early detection does save lives. Even if it is chronic illnesses, be it hypertension, diabetes, even with the cancers, early detection goes a long way to save lives.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Yeah, we've been speaking with Dr. Ejewa Bonwedi. She is a pediatrician with the University Hospital, Legon, and also a member of the Pediatric Society of Ghana.
And
Thank
we'll
you so much.
definitely have her back one of these
we
days.
should.
But I just want to add something to what Doc said. Also, just like you budget for your food and your clothes and your car maintenance, budget for your health care.
Thank you.
Insurance is one thing, but in your monthly budget, budget for your health care. People don't do that. So now when they end up in the hospital, it's a big surprise. Budget for your health care.